bottom right-hand side, we're going to kick off the semi-final of this week's ESL Open Cup with the Red Protoss player, ShoWTimE. Taking on the Blue Terran in the top left corner of the map, it is going to be Team Liquid's Clem. Man, I didn't cast Clem in a few days. I invited him to a couple tourneys and he was busy. Oh, he couldn't play, and then one of them he replied too late, and he could only play on the day that I had already filled up. I'm just trying to think the last time I casted Clem. It feels like it has been a while. Probably like last week in the Open Cup, but I don't know. I feel like I'm so used to seeing Clem play in this, that, and everything that to me it's almost surprising when he's not playing in everything. He played Open Cup NA last week. Open Cup EU against the Laser. Yeah, I think that's the last time we casted Clem. This time last week in Open Cup EU. That would make sense, and the week before that as well. Yeah, so not as much as usual. Usually we kind of follow a lot of Clem, and even in these cups we oftentimes follow his section of the bracket, right? So it does just feel like it's been a little bit less as of late. Probe coming up, and nibbling an SCV. Let's get this underway. SCV gonna go and chase a probe. Couple SCVs running around. I'm just going to be seeing our Reaper on the way up. Nothing really too wild in our early game. Just going to keep one following this probe. As he leaves, obviously, finally, just going to get that command center down as Clem, so you're going to be able to get that going. This probe really is just going to start leaving. It's not going to take any risks or anything. It's going to go all the way back home. For now. So yeah, probe just going to be heading on home, and it's going to be having a Nexus coming up. Factory on the way in from Clem as well. Command center building on the natural, and everything pretty normal. So this is going to be that Reaper Marine factory into a bunker back at home as well. So really being very safe against the possibility of his opponent being aggressive. So that's also a factor here. Let's see how Reaper hopping out, and the Adept continues to chase that Reaper out of there. So Reaper gets chased out. Stargate is on the way up as well. Warp Gate coming through in the factory, going to be completing from Clem in just a few short moments. Now CC just on the way up, and again that Reaper is just escaped away for the moment. Out elsewhere on the map. Stargate is continuing up, so that finishes, and we'll see exactly how ShoWTimE will commit. We'll see Oracle into Phoenix or just straight Phoenix. Possibility to go straight Phoenix, right? But on a map like Berlingrad, I feel like Oracle, maybe just because it's obviously a little bit shorter, can come across the map a little bit quicker and just get in there and start to deal some damage right away. So I'd imagine maybe something along those lines, as we do have the Adept going to go over to the right-hand side. The Reaper continues down to the south. It's going to hop up into this main base in a couple of moments. Second Oracle on the way up from ShoWTimE as well. Just going to be seeing the couple of gateways coming through, and we'll see the Cyclone coming out as well here at the moment. Just getting that underway. Cyclone actually gets a lock onto this Oracle the moment it pops out, and that Oracle gets scanned to die. Nice catch from Clem. Good. I mean, Oracle just pops in at the wrong moment. Cyclone's there, and the scan's obviously good as well to guarantee that win or that kill. Nicely handled. Robotics facility coming up, and just going to be seeing Twilight Council coming through as well. A couple of probes continuing in right now. Getting that up and running. Just going to be seeing out there Nexus coming through. It's going to be seeing our probe production continuing as well. Engineering Bay, extra racks, all of that setting up from Clem here, as we do have our stim pack is on the way in as well. So just getting stim up and rolling. Marines on the way. Engineering Bay about to finish. This Oracle still out in the middle of the map, as we do have Robo and Twilight finishing shortly. Couple of additional gateways coming through, and that Nexus number 3 from ShoWTimE. Well, I'm just keeping good track of things. He's using that Reaper effectively, making sure he's aware of his opponent's expansions, knowing the timing of things, not allowing himself to be caught off guard by anything here. Still in a pretty good, he's controlling the game, or the pacing of the game pretty well at the moment as his Zealot Sentries and Adepts just join up over on the right-hand side. They're just going to be hanging out there and waiting for their opportunity to fight, which might come very soon because Clem's moving across the map to initiate a fight. He's not going to have combat shield and +1 right away, but I tell you what, if he has stim and there's no charge, I think you just fight into this with stim, you know, because you can just kite and never take any damage, right? Beautiful scan, catches the Observer immediately there as he walks underneath it, and, well, stim is a few moments away, so we'll see if Clem does want to fight at all. Obviously, the big part of this would be, can you get rid of the battery, which is already going to overcharge, and this Widowmine gets picked off before it will connect, so not allowed to fire, and that's a little bit of a factor there as well. Cyclone's still zoning out the Oracle, which wants to come back in. So the battery now has faded away. Combat Shield is going to finish soon. Is Combat Shield going to finish before charge? Yes, by a few moments if there's no Chrono Boost on that charge. Only by a second or two, though, so I guess not a big deal as well, because there's actually not that many Zealots in this army anyways. So I'm kind of making a big deal out of nothing. ShoWTimE is confident to defend without the Zealots, which means that the charge timing doesn't really make much of a difference. Clem, and try and go from this left side instead. I mean, ShoWTimE actually has a Disruptor out from his Robo Bay, so first Disruptor of the game pops and doesn't do much. This is a little scary now because you don't have any splash damage that will continue to deal damage here, because it's already just been the Disruptor that's fired and is now on cooldown. Clem should know that. I'm surprised he's not target firing the Disruptor. He is killing probes as the Widowmine drop comes in on the right-hand side at the same time, so 7 workers going down. I'm sure Clem was paying some attention to that rather than being overly concerned about the Disruptor as well, and hence not target firing it down perhaps just a little sooner. So a shot coming through, and just going to be seeing the Bioform Force coming in once again. The Widowmines over there will survive for the moment. The Medevac just being chased out of there. I'm sure we'll try and again come back for more workers in the foreseeable future. We'll lift those Widowmines back up. Medevac's still alive as the Phoenix goes up to chase it. Now first Colossus popping, and that should dissuade Clem from continuing to fight, especially with such a marine-heavy army. A Colossus splash is just a little too dangerous to be committing on into. There goes that Medevac as well. It was low HP. This Widowmine will burrow. We'll get a Stalker. A couple probes dead as some harassment hits the main base. And that's going to be another Medevac as that one gets cleaned up pretty effectively too. Credit to ShoWTimE. Continued defense here has been good as we see Clem attempting to drop the main. He's actually going to go for it. He just says not enough units here right away, and he'll start a fight. Has those Widowmines setting up. There's a Disruptor coming in though, and that's one of the 2 Widowmines picked off. And one Marine is stuck on the ledge as well, by the way, so it's going to be kind of grasping at straws and seeing what it can do. Probably just going to get killed. Yep. Not as exciting if this was like TvP and it's Lingbane that keeps getting hit by it. Clem now multitasking on the right-hand side, but a Stasis Ward will slow him down. And a lot of what ShoWTimE is doing at the moment is just taking the wind out of Clem's sails. You know, it really is just slowing Clem down a lot, not allowing him to get set up into the positions he is so used to being in positions that he loves to be in, right? Just not letting any of that happen. As we do have our Bioforce unloading, and again, just a couple different directions setting up on the map. We're going to land a Mule from Clem. I think that might be a misclick. I do this sometimes. I know I don't want to, you know, compare myself to Clem, but I am pretty good. Sometimes, you know, when you go to drop a Mule and you just click it, like, you go back to your army before you click it or something. So you're meant to, like, drop it in the mineral line, and obviously then sometimes you click it in your army because you've just, like, macroed back to your army or something too quickly. I do it a few times. Or maybe, like, yeah, it's a thing. I don't know what the exact order is, but I imagine that's what that is, because that was a very random Mule to just drop out of the sky in the middle of nowhere. It's obviously not a mana Mule or anything. Yeah, it was just kind of out of nowhere, so a little strange, the Mule action there, but otherwise, like I said, there's definitely a fairly reasonable explanation for it. I mean, ShoWTimE just walks across the map, by the way. I gotta say, his defense recently has been pristine, and because of that, he's got a pretty scary army, and Clem may not have a lot to defend. He's given up a fair few units, not really finding much damage outside of those Widowmines that got that 7 probe kill. Other than that, it has been pretty lackluster. Now, the Prism might go down as Clem will have that engagement from the other side. He's going to have the CC lifted. The main fight's already happening here. Clem's actually going to have his units caught by the Zealots from the bottom side. Clem just can't fight this, and ShoWTimE has too much. GG's, ShoWTimE takes map number 1 off Clem. So ShoWTimE grabbing this. Alright guys, sorry for that. Welcome back, and kick off into map number 2. Sorry, we're just a moment or so late into this. ShoWTimE bottom left leads 1-0 in this best of 5. Up 2-0. My fat fingers hit 2 instead of 1. As in the bottom right side, our blue Terran player, Team Liquid's Clem. Alright, anything I missed while I was gone? Zerg Smash, not while I was gone, but thank you so much for the 15-month resub coming through, I think, during that last game as well. So thank you so much for that, just to get caught up on our shoutouts and to get back on track. Alright, well, an early scout here, getting going initially. Pulling back down to the bottom left corner. I'm just going to see our factory on the way up here from Clem as well. It's just getting the factory underway. Stargate is building. And that Nexus finishing up on the natural here in just a few moments' time. It's getting our Nexus completed. Stargate is building. And, yeah, 12 extra Marines. Getting underway. We do have that warp gate just coming through as get this adept movement across the map. So ShoWTimE going to be taking an adept across to the other side initially, making a little bit of progress over there. Adept just going to shade by and obviously keep track of a few Marines, threaten, keep some Marines at home a little bit as well, because obviously now these Marines say, oh well, we know we can't go running across the map if these adepts might shade by, otherwise we might lose an SCV or so. So ShoWTimE just trying to slow this down. Keep picking up on info. You know, obviously you see right now that obviously more Marines are being made, for example. Just little bits, right? Counting units and that little bit of information all adds up in your head over time. Oracle about to complete, and the warp gate is coming through. A couple of extra gateways coming into the mineral line. And just going to be seeing our first Oracle coming across to try and deal some damage. This time ShoWTimE, one Oracle has not continued with the Oracle. He's going to go for a Phoenix after this. So into Phoenix we head, and it's going to be seeing the Oracle just dropping a nice little revelation down. Oh, flies back out over the Widowmine though. So last time he went multiple Oracles and he obviously lost one to the Cyclone. This time the Widowmine catches it on the exit, and that's obviously just a little bit frustrating, not what you want to have happen to your lonely Oracle. That means you're missing detection now, and it also means you're just obviously not going to have as much info as you would like unless your Phoenix are going to be a lot more active on the map. So two Widowmine drop to the left. Obviously this kind of comes down to where the Phoenix are, and I believe they're flying out to the bottom side at the moment, so yeah, one Widowmine shows up and is just going to push that probe off the mineral line here, so not much to say about that. Next Widowmine drop on the bottom now. The Phoenix are going up to the top to deal with the first Widowmine drop. The rotation of units is good from Clem, and he has a good understanding, obviously, of where these Phoenix are going to be going to really make the most of this, because, like I said before, the Phoenix was just down on that south side, ready to catch this medevac, and now the Phoenix are not there at all. So this Widowmine drop gets in for 3 Widowmines. All 4 will actually get down and burrow. 2 probes down. We're going to get a good clump of probes on the south side. There's 1 Widowmine shot left. This one's going to go for 1 more work. There's 7 probes. Obviously, these drops do go down. They are suicide drops when you're playing against Phoenix. There's no way to keep them alive throughout the entirety of the game or to get them home unless ShoWTimE is almost forgetting that he has Phoenix and forgets to control them back home and all the rest of it. So, yeah, not able to do much there. Phoenix back up into the center. We do have +1 attack and stim still coming through here from Clem. So that's still being brought into play. Widowmine's on that top side. Immortal on the way out as well. Just seeing our medevac hanging out here. The Nexus is going to be finishing up on the 3rd base fairly soon. So we're getting to the 3 base setup here from ShoWTimE. He leads 1-0 in the best of 5 semi-final today. We're just going to have our +1 attack on concussive shells, combat shields, all of this continuing through. And there's a couple of medevacs and Marines are all continuing out from Clem. So medevacs, Marines, Widowmine production continuing also. There's a couple of mines just left over here. It's kind of a bit of a bait, right? Like, oh, please fly into my medevac and kill it. Oh, no, Widow Mines just blew up your Phoenix. One of those kind of moments. Obviously, if nothing happens and he finds out the Phoenix on the bottom side at some point, he might lift those mines up and go drop the third base, but I'm basically waiting for information before he wants to make a decision on that. Marines and medevacs going over to the left-hand side. Just going to be seeing an Immortal getting tagged a little bit. Just going to see the drop up into the main base. One of the main points of Blackburn that I used to talk about a lot was this idea of being able to just jump up from that low ground and go to this high ground. You don't see it a lot anymore. But this is a perfect example of it. Just dives up into the main base. Now, obviously, escaping out of here is dangerous. With the Phoenix in play, you go through a slow zone as well. But he's going to be able to start unloading. And actually gets a... that Phoenix without a pylon that died. I think it was a pylon. That went down just at the end there. Just didn't quite catch that. Sorry, it was helping some moderators in the chat sort out some issues. Oh god, now I got a Skype message. Okay. Charge +1. All of this continuing through. A couple of Vikings producing on the start point. We do have a good amount of units just spread to the top and the bottom sides. I'm going to stim into this. He's actually going to have the units from the bottom side able to stim into this as well. He could kind of make that a kind of a surrounding fight from the right and the south, but backs away with this. Doesn't feel like he can continue to attack into the Colossus play. So it just takes a step back and chills for the moment. Well, Bioforce still coming through the south. Actually, ShoWTimE's Phoenix were moving in over here for a moment. I thought maybe something was about to happen, but not the case. Gonna see our Phoenix around the top. Just gonna be seeing our units loading up into the medevac's gonna go jumping into the main here, and obviously a lot of Phoenix around the right side. Nexus in the top left-hand corner, so fourth base coming through. Clem just dive bombs this Colossus, which obviously was trying to defend from drops in the main, but when this many units drop on top, it doesn't really have much of an impact. Now Vikings trying to do some damage to the Colossi as they run in over here. My big question will just be, can Clem actually do okay with this fight enough to justify what he's going to lose? Because right now it looks great for him, but he will lose everything, right? The Phoenix will kill the medevacs. The Colossi will do damage on the ground, and you can just see he's going to drop to the low ground. Phoenix going to start lifting up a few units. Zealot's charging forwards. Clem is killing a lot of the Phoenix. Let's be realistic. He is getting a lot of damage done, but definitely not for free. I mean, this was a ton of units that came across initially, and now the three final Phoenix will chase those medevacs around. Well, actually, no, they don't. They actually let them go out down to the bottom side. It's going to be seeing the other units up to the top as we're going to go in. Bioforce will grab a pylon. So pylon going down. Nexus is going to be out in the upper left. Going to be seeing our blink and our +2 attack continuing on through. Because I'm on the way through as well, and just seeing Clem heading down to the bottom side. Going to be having our next push already setting up here. Now, what's our Colossus count out coming out of this? 2 Colossi remain. Not bad then, not terrible. Absolutely, I've seen worse before. We move up to the top with this bio army as well. Vikings in tow, and just going to be having our robotics facility number 2 on the way out right now. So just bringing that up. Extra Ghost Soul being brought into play. Additional racks coming in. That CC lifts off and flies over to the right-hand side. My army is going to get a Zealot in the corner, and just seeing the few Phoenix coming back across an army on the 6 o'clock. This force figuring out what it would like to do. As the enhanced shockwaves comes up again, that EMP radius increase underway, just improving your ghosts, and EMP went down there to hit the Phoenix, scaring those back. Not that there's a lot of Phoenix remaining. ShoWTimE's army's still scary. Clem's still showing it a lot of respect, does not want to just go running on in, and ShoWTimE just doing the right thing in terms of base building, right? Taking that top left, it's set back, it's harder to push into. It's not the kind of, it's not this base here, it's not this gold base that can be harassed. He's taking the safer bases first, knowing that Clem has a lot of the presence on the map and has a lot of the momentum in the game, just wants to say, right, let's take what I can get, even if it's not the best base necessarily overall. It's the safest base right now, and that makes it the best base. And then obviously we can go from there. Just going to see an EMP on these units as they come down the ramp. Clem really hunting for a strong fight, and again just splitting units up to try and figure out where his opponent is moving to, where he might expect the fight to break out next. Just trying to catch ShoWTimE off guard at all. As Clem's army progresses, he's about to have 2-2 upgrades. I mean, he's maxing out shortly. We don't have long until Clem is not going to have much more to do other than to obviously really figure out how he wants to fight, unless he wants to just tech up further. Obviously, the next step here would maybe to be maybe to be adding on a fusion core, going in towards your Liberator production. Meanwhile, ShoWTimE's already got a Dark Shrine on the way up. And set up with that, as we do have the Fire Force on the bottom side. Gonna run to the top left bio. Just gonna get rid of a battery and a bunch of cannons. A couple of zealots are just trying to come through. I mean, again, just trying to find those moments where you can just get a jump on the Protoss player. You can just get that little inch ahead of him and just, you know, maybe do some damage or get a really good trade before anything else happens. The Ghost split away. 3 of them go down to the Disruptor, though, so Clem does get hit hard there. Drops another EMP on this bottom side army. A couple of Phoenix still in the game. I mean, I feel like at this point, ShoWTimE just wants to lose these, right? He wouldn't mind if they went, disappeared off somewhere. Free up some supply. I feel like they're not being all that useful. Disruptor shot, he actually does clip some units that didn't stop running forward there. And, well, the Vikings have been good. They've taken down the Colossi on the south side. There's still one on the northern part of this fight. That's going to help to push Clem back up the ramp as Disruptors are still helping to dominate this game. And, well, Vikings will get the last Colossus, but all the Vikings will fall, so you could justify maybe remaking Colossi here if you want to as ShoWTimE. Obviously, a lot of the time in these scenarios, you do get kind of stuck in this trap of, oh, look, my Colossi died, now I'm just going to have Stalker, Disruptor, and your army eventually just can't win a fight, but as long as the Terran's playing very patiently. Try not actually get to that stage, though. I mean, ShoWTimE's coming across, he's got an army supply lead, and he's looking pretty good. Looking kind of scary. First time we've really seen ShoWTimE across the map in a long time, just with how the game's been playing out. Disruptor shot fires in. And we see now Stalkers moving up this ramp. SCVs are pulling. Obviously, Libs are setting up defensively as well, hoping that they can be the deal breaker in amongst all this. 13 workers going down. ShoWTimE's army supply still leading by about 20. No warp prisms. So he's got to warp in units from across the map. As more SCVs come in, it's going to be big. Nice lift on that Ghost on the bottom side, away from the Disruptor. Did it twice actually, just in case you missed it the first time. Clem wants to show us the trick 2 times over. Make sure we all get a chance to see it. Can't used effectively. Just going to see Bio still chasing the left-hand side. 18 workers die. Obviously, now ShoWTimE's lost a little bit of his previous or prior advantage. So, well, in terms of army at least. And like I say, you kind of go on the rebuild here, and your rebuild is, well, just a ton of Stalkers. And sometimes you're left asking, well, how good can these Stalkers really even be? It's a good question, honestly. Like, Stalkers can be surprising sometimes, but sometimes they really can just suck, and I think it's okay to accept that. It's going to be dangerous. If Clem gets the right fight, this army of ShoWTimE can disappear in an instant. Obviously, you take the wrong fight. I mean, it almost comes down just to the Disruptors, right? I do love the Libs. I think the Libs are going to do a lot of zoning. The Stalkers, really against the right amount of Liberators, can't do much about them. Well, that's why ShoWTimE's going to spend a bunch of money. DT's on the upper right side. They could go and deny the gold base at Clem. He'll get a pre-warning about it. That turret is positioned well. It's positioned exactly to see something like this. A bit of pre-warning about, DTs that might dive the base. And he's just absolutely going to dive this base. ShoWTimE had blink. He was afraid. He had that. He could have blinked on, killed the base, and killed the units after, so that's a little bit of a shame. Just probably a reactionary sort of, oh my god, there's units there, and he blinked away before he really thought about what was actually happening, right? So, being a bit careful about that. Just going to be seeing another CC coming through. Disruptor shot fires. Liberator is still coming into action. Yes, he's going down as the Stalkers hit the other side of that goal. We are going to see the DTs blinking through. Clem pre-pulled the SCVs to repair and had some units moving in. What a play. That's exactly what you need to be doing against these DTs. I mean, it seems crazy to be able to do it, but there you go. Perfect example of how you shut those DT run-bys down. That's a lot of DTs as well. They're expensive units, so if you do catch them, if you do kill them, if they're not doing damage, it's a waste investment that doesn't do well for you. At the same time, though, Clem is taking, well, ShoWTimE is taking this fight over here, and Clem just has to fight along with it. The Disruptors have been doing well. The Stalkers did manage to get rid of the initial group of libs, but now maybe just a little bit too much, and that's where ShoWTimE does have to start pulling back over to the other direction instead, just backing away and giving a little bit more space to that. Stalkers blink in, Liberator goes down, another Disruptor shot as libs continue to get shot out the sky here. ShoWTimE is content to keep on fighting down on the south side. A little bit of Bioforce coming back into play, and just going to see the DTs getting to work. A couple of Marauders going to get chased away here. And I guess the DTs are getting chased away, really trying to find out. There's going to be a turret on that high ground, though, and Clem doing good. I mean, he's losing SCVs. Sorry, I don't mean this sounds horrible. I mean, Clem's doing good at dealing with the DTs. He's losing SCVs, but he is pushing them back, and he's getting some kills. But obviously, I don't get to finish my sentence before Clem types GG, and then I've just said Clem is good as he GG's out of the game. And I have in the top right-hand side, up 2-0, the red Protoss player, ShoWTimE. We have a proper mod war in the chat today, huh? Bottom left, blue Terran player from Team Liquid is Clem. Do you guys know what the Beyond Hostum score is? Is it 0-0? Did it not start yet? Okay, you guys just having fun just bullying me. It's okay. I'm fine with what I said. I'm happy that I said what I said, knowing fine well what I meant. It just looked horrendous. Clem could not have GG'd a worse moment from what I was what I was saying. Literally caught halfway through my sentence. But you know what? That is my fault, because I shouldn't have made a statement that wasn't clear to begin with. That I shouldn't have made a statement that needed the rest of the sentence to be, you know, well understood, you know? My own fault. I put myself in that position. Hey, what's up? Cruciferus 1, thank you so much for the 4-month resub on the Prime. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much. Cybercore Nexus coming through here as a probe gets chased away. TC reactor, all of this coming through at the moment as we, like I said, just get set up a little bit. Just going to be seeing our couple of balance coming into play and waiting for this proxy of ShoWTimE to get going. I mean, ShoWTimE's got a 2-game lead, right? May as well just get this setting up. I may as well just get a little cheesy. And look at this proxy Stargate against a super fast 3cc from Clem as well. So, I mean, in terms of build order, that seems pretty good, right? Chance to do some good damage. It does sometimes work in a weird way. And what I mean by that is sometimes you do get this situation where you kind of play this proxy Stargate, and because he's gone 3cc, the damage that Clem will take from this is kind of just fine. It doesn't matter because he's just rebuilding the SCVs immediately anyway, because he's obviously just got 3cc of SCV production. So that can be kind of the funny way that this works out sometimes, bit of a weird one. Let's see what happens as we continue through. Just going to have our barracks going down. That's barracks number 2. First Oracle starts up here out of ShoWTimE. And you look at what Clem's seen in this game. Well, pretty much nothing. Has not seen much at all thus far, just because he's not scouted. So he doesn't know about it, so his Marines are not in a great position to start. So that first Oracle really does have a good chance of doing damage here. Marines are just out wandering the map at the moment. Comes around the back, and we go. There's no factory, there's no mine. I mean, ShoWTimE will see this and know this because of the third CC being sighted. So 3 SCVs, 4. He'll get 5 easily. He'll get 6 now. I mean, that's just fantastic damage to start. But like I say, how much does it matter when you've got that third CC? You know, Clem is going to be able to rebuild a lot of workers quickly. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say that this is great for Clem or something. It's still damage taken, but it is something of a factor. Now Marines know that this Stargate is proxied. They're going to go out and kill the pylon off and shut that down. I'm down by 14 workers. Pretty huge. Obviously, he will catch back up on that a little bit as time passes by here, but a pretty substantial deficit to begin with. That is all, you know, for now. ShoWTimE obviously has a pretty comfortable lead in that regard, so goes pretty nicely. He's just going to go straight into Glaives and 5 more gates. I kind of like it. If Clem's being this aggressive, he's going to be very late to his factory units. I say this aggressive. If he's being that greedy, I like the aggression against it, and you've done good damage, so Clem's slowed down a little bit initially due to the Oracle as well. Depends if ShoWTimE can hit before... Well, honestly, I mean, like, the factory is just so late that you can hit at any time here, and I think it's going to be okay. The factory units usually are the key to really shutting this down. Oracle just going to keep on activating and gets another SCV. Make it 2. The ADEPTs in the center are going to get seen. Now, Clem's pushing. This can get really messy really quickly for Clem, because he's pushing. You look at the time of this. Glaives is 25 seconds away. Stim's 25 seconds away. But if you stim against the Glaved ADEPTs, they are going to start two-shotting you, and they're going to clean you up so quickly. That's genuinely an issue, and ShoWTimE needs to realize that Clem is actually moving up over here and that he can take a very good fight. Clem cannot get these Marines home. ShoWTimE has Glaives right now because he used the Chrono Boost to his advantage. Combat Shield is done, but the Marines are in some trouble. I mean, Stim's going to finish up and he's going to start running. The Adepts will start shading across the map, and I think Clem is in a ton of trouble right now. I mean, he's going to create an engineering bay wall because he is afraid of all of these Adepts coming in and just shading on top of him. The thing is, even if you, I mean, I don't think you shade here, ShoWTimE. You cancel this shade, or you shade just kind of get in position. Go off one of these walls, and you begin to kind of shade through. You just want to make sure you shade on top of the units. Because if you don't shade on top of the units, you don't start dealing damage right away. He's going to cancel this shade, so he's going to hold back for now. And he's got Adepts in the main base as well. He's going to start killing the first Widow Mines. He gets the first 2 mines of the game. Massive as well. We just talked about the importance of the factory units in defending this. Oh man, I want to say Clem's dead, actually. I mean, let's see, as he does stim in from a couple of sides. He's losing so many SCVs. The Prism is warping into the main base. Clem will not kill that in time, so extra Adepts get through. GG, ShoWTimE is going to Adept Clem to a 3-0. Wow. ShoWTimE just shows up in this PvT and talk about making a statement, and that's going to give him even more EPT points, putting him even further ahead of Lambo, with that NA Cup ahead of him into the finals goes ShoWTimE.